Pretty. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Real Supernatural Encounters. Today we have Jeff, and he's going to tell us a couple of his encounters and different experiences he went through. So, Jeff, go ahead and introduce yourself and give everybody a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so my name is Jeff. I live up here in Canada. I'm actually in Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada, so southern part of Alberta. And my entire life has actually been more of the strange and unusual. So I guess the unusual for me is more the norm, we can say. Ever since I was little, I've had various different, say, paranormal experiences. I always was kind of able to see spirits walking around the house, or I've always just had these very strong intuitive feelings about, let's just say there was always kind of something watching me. There was always something that I felt was watching over me and didn't really quite understand what that meant. And I've always been kind of a bit of a strange kid as well. So I always felt like I had, I guess, certain ability that my friends and family didn't really understand or connect to. I would be able to tap in and see different things. I'd get like clairvoyant visions and stuff. And then, those visions, a week later, whatnot, would come true. Or I'd have very vivid dreams about certain future events and just different weird things like that. So my life was always more based in the paranormal. I know there's a lot of people out there that actually think the whole thing is just nonsense or whatever foolishness. That always makes me laugh a bit because how people, there's this whole other world that resides around us. Like we are living in such a small, like what we can see, our senses can only pick up so much, but there's so much more to that. And I feel like there's so many people that live in such a small bandwidth of information or of reality that by stating that these things don't exist and they're just foolishness is just closing themselves off to such a greater reality. So I always laugh about that and say, man, if only you can just invite yourself into my world for a little bit, because it really does open up everything so much, and it does make things more exciting. I mean, I would rather live like this than just like anyone else, really, and just have that very kind of groundhoggy day-to-day life where everything just is what it is. For me, that's not the case. For me, there's always something new happening, whether at night or during the day. I'm always seeing something new. I'm always feeling or tapping into something. I live my life more like a game. I more play it instead of live it. So I always look at things as a challenge that I can defeat instead of, oh, this is happening to me and that's a horrible thing. I always look at what can I gain from things? How can I grow from this? So I'm always trying to put a positive spin on things and always continuing to move forward. So that's just a brief, little bit of brief picture of who I am.
All right. Let's see. Let's go ahead and we'll start with your first story, which would be your near-death experience. So if you like,
Okay.
go ahead and give you the
Yeah. So
rope.
near death. Yeah. So there's going to be quite a bit with the near death experience. So like I said, I've always been very sensitive growing up, and I had a lot of abuse that happened to me at a younger age, and a lot of struggle that happened. Unfortunately, led me down the road of drug abuse, alcoholism, things like that. And when I was in my early 20s, that kind of hit the end of the road for me, where I had a drug overdose. And this is where my near death experience happened. So I had consumed a large amount of narcotic painkillers, and then everything went black for me. And then very shortly after that, everything started to light up. And then the next thing I noticed was I saw my body below me in an ambulance with paramedics working on me. So the first thing that came to my mind was, oh my God, I'm dead, but oh my God, I'm not dead. So it was I didn't really have a belief around too much. Although when I was young, I would see spirits and stuff, but I didn't really know, what that meant or what death really was until I actually had the experience. And then I noticed too that my pain, my suffering, all those things were gone as well. So the energy of my soul, or the energy part of my being, was free of all of that sorrow that I had carried on. And I also noticed that I was no longer in a place what we call time and space. So time did not exist, space was not there. It was very simple to see that there was only one moment in creation, and that one moment, that one moment creates, it's like we have these different perspective of the same moment, but the moment doesn't change. So like I noticed that time and space were giving us a process to life, and it was like slow down spirit to the point where we can then live our life through process. But when you're outside your body, the process was gone and everything was immediately here and now. So I could see into past lives, I could even see into future lifetimes as well, which I thought that was very interesting. And then the present life. So I could tell and feel all the people that I interacted with, all the people that I engaged with in my life. I felt what they felt through my interaction. Like, did I lift them up? Did I tear them down? Was I a positive influence? Was I a negative influence? Did I make them sad? Like, what did I do? And I felt all of what I did, whether it be good or bad, to the people around me, which also gave me a realization into this is how we're all connected, is that we are all connected from a much higher point, but yet separate as well. But we still are made of the same stuff. So we still interconnect with our feelings, with our emotions, and how we affect someone else will then affect us. And so I saw the connection between all things, and it made me realize the way I was going about things was just wrong. So the choices I have made, I was seeing that there could have been different choices and what that could lead to. And I did realize that life was more of a game. We're here to learn, we're here to grow, we're here to face our fears, we're here to help others, including ourselves, not run away like I used to. So it gave me a perspective of more the meaning behind life for me. And I'm not saying that this is for everyone, I'm just saying this is what it did for me. And so when I came back, I then now had a new path forward. I was able to look at life more in a way of, okay, all my choices are going to result into something, and they will also affect other people, not just me. So I became a lot more aware of other people in my life, and a lot more aware of the choices I made for myself. And also, I built up a lot of this negative, heavy energy, a lot of things that I did to myself. I put a lot of toxins in my body that I had to clear out. So the following decade after that was clearing a lot of the stuff and making up for the wrongs that I did. So I call it like karmic debt. It was a lot of paying back my karmic debt, which was hell for me to do. It was very hard, but I always had this vision that at the end of it, what my life would be and what I can make my life to be. So it was always driving me forward, no matter how painful it got. I still always had that light at the end of the tunnel that I could reach out to and know that my life one day will be great for me, those around me, and I can help others as well. So I have to keep pushing forward with this. So the near-death experience gave me a whole new perspective of what life was for me, for others, what I could do with my life, and my purpose too. So finding purpose was the greatest responsibility that I could have had for myself. And I did not take that when I was young. I had no clue that finding purpose keeps you on the straight and narrow, keeps you moving forward towards something great. So if you wake up without purpose, I feel like that the first thing you need to do is find that, reach out and find something that you can live for bigger than yourself. A lot of people getting out of bed, going to a job they don't like, or dealing with a boss that they don't get along with. I feel like that is just more of a waste. I'm not saying you can't do that, but try to slowly move towards something that suits you better. I don't feel life should be miserable the way I used to live it. I think life can be what we make it. It's all in our heads to make it up. So we can make it very good, because we are in control of that. We can choose what we want for ourselves.
All right. I have a couple of questions about that.
Yeah, sure.
So for one of them, how long were you deceased for?
So I was out for 3 days in a coma.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So so in those 3 days, what did you see?
Oh well. Well, a lot. Like I said, I saw my body, but I also had a visitation with my younger brother who passed a year before. Um, he had taken me with him, and we went to this kind of like a big bright space, big bright area, and he talked to me about some things. Just, hey, how you been? Like, I'm here. It's nice to see you. He gave me a big hug. It was like a reunion of sorts, and he talked to me about my life and what that was like. And he said, I expected to see you for sure, considering the path you were on. And then he took me into this other room, and there was these three other beings, you would say three other light energy beings that asked me if I am ready to go back and what life could be for me. Wasn't like they told me, but it was being played all around me. So there was this holographic show happening all around me, like a theater system that was showing me what life could be. And they had asked me if I wanted to go back. It's not they needed my consent to go back, but they were highly advising me to go back, saying, you have a specific role, a specific job, you need to do something specific. And if you don't go back, that's okay, but you will be missing out on so much. So we
Yeah.
advise that you go back and you continue on in your body and you do the work that is necessary to get you the life that is showing you right now. And so the life I saw, it was very unusual. It was something that didn't make much sense to me because it seemed a little more science fiction than anything. It didn't
Really?
seem like the earth I knew. It didn't seem like a life that I thought I could have because it was just almost too futuristic or something that I didn't think was even plausible, possible for me at that time. But the more I move forward now, the more it's starting to come in. The more I'm starting to realize that this vision that I saw is starting to unfold and it's beginning to happen for me. So it's really neat to see the pieces starting to come in. It is really cool to watch as this play out. So yeah, this experience was it absolutely changed my entire direction. Absolutely altered everything that I believed to be true, and just yeah, just it just changed everything so much.
Was there a did they show you what your reasoning or what your purpose was?
Yes, I did have a glimpse into that. I don't want to go too deep into that. I want to let that kind of be known as time goes on. For those of you who are paying attention to this show or paying attention to my story in any way, it will unfold and you'll see what it is I'm up to in the world. I don't want to go into too many details about what that specific thing is, but I will say this, that what I'll be involved in will be helping people to, let's just say, helping with the story of humanity,
That's
helping
awesome.
unfold some of the more ancient truths that we have been kind of led astray from.
Let's see. And then my other question was, you said that you've seen like past, present, future, and everything.
Yeah.
So what was the scary futures that you've seen?
Okay, so yeah, there are different probable realities because the future is not, it's always creating and reinventing itself depending on the collective energy that we as humans give out. I can see, so each and every individual person has um their own future, their own let's just say their own, I don't know the word I'm looking for here, probable reality for themselves. Now that probable reality is based on the actions, the thoughts, the beliefs, the things that you are doing today, the people you're interacting with. That probable reality comes from those things of today. So as a collective, there and our probable future as far as the entire earth and where we are going as far as humanity will be based on our collective energy. Now there are realities that are realities we want nothing to do with, and there's also realities where we want everything to do with. So it is kind of showing that there is realities that are great for us and realities that aren't so great. So the way I see it now is I do feel like there's going to be this darkness before dawn. I think the closer we get to the light, the more darkness will appear. And I think that's what we're seeing now. We just need to get everything out on the table and really become clear about what the fuck's going on, I think, in this reality. Like what is really going on, so that we can all become clear. Instead of fighting amongst each other, we need to realize what's really at the core of these problems. Like, where are they coming from? The division is happening so that we only pay attention to ourselves and not really pay attention to the real problems. And I think that I believe personally that we will end up in a great society. I think that we will get through this. I think we will win. I think that we will come out on the other end and we will rebuild a society that us humans want for ourselves and that's right for us. That's what I think. But there are realities where it's as if nuclear war has happened. There's realities where we're living in complete tyranny, oppression, where there's no privacy, surveillance everywhere. It's like we're living in a complete police state. You ever see that show? What's it called? Occupier. I forget. Like, where the aliens came down and they put a big wall up over Los Angeles and stuff. I forget. There's a show on Netflix about it. I forget the name. Colony. It's called Colony. So if you watch that show Colony, that's the kind of world that can happen for us. Something we just don't want, where it's kind of that kind of oppression, where there's just a police state, like an army state, just watching over everybody's moves. And then there's this hierarchy of control with the rich, just making it so that anyone else can barely get by.
Did you see any like possible positive probability of something good ending for this lifetime for where we live at?
So yeah, I think that, yeah, there is, I think there's a probable of really good for us. I think it's more probable for us to get through this and win than it is for the other way to go. But there's still some time. We still have to get through some shit, and people need to stand up. People need to just stop looking and watching and being like, oh, look what they're doing now. We need to start actually acting and getting together and preparing something and getting organized like they are. They're very organized. We're not. We're just running around all scattered, all angry over what's going on. When we become organized, when we start to put action and plan together, I think that's when things will really start to change, when there's a big movement forward.
I agree. I definitely agree.
Yeah.
Would you be able to be specific on what you've seen when you were with your brother and seeing this octagon-like movie reel?
Yeah, so it was like basically it was just a bright space. I can't say we'll just say that the room was round, but there was no curves, there was no wall, so it was just an open, bright, very bright space, so bright that you couldn't see any real walls, right? But the movie was playing in a circle around me, so I could look anywhere and see that reality.
That's
you understand?
Awesome.
It was surrounding me, so no matter where I looked, that part of it would be there. If I looked behind me, then I would see that part. And so I was looking around, and like I said, at the time I didn't really quite know what I was looking at. I was confused over like what really this was, but it was made apparent to me that was the reality that I would be able to live in if I got my shit together. If I went back and I did the work I had to do and I followed my path forward, no matter what, I held my truth. A lot of people are going to, not believe me. A lot of people were going to oppose me, and they did. I mean, my entire family came unglued on me. I had such opposition against me. I had such force against me for this entire time. Now it's different now because I let everyone go. And I'm just, on my own, doing my own thing. But at the beginning, yeah, it was very, very tough to get through that. So yeah, once I was able to do all the work I was supposed to do and follow that path, pieces would come together, things would happen for me, and I would continue to build and work on the things I needed to do and keep following that path, and it will lead me there. And as I can see now, we're over 10 years later, about 12 or 13 years now past that time. And it's very apparent to me, very clear that that's exactly where I'm heading.
Wow.
So yeah, it's very interesting. It was very hard. The details were very horrible. I wouldn't wish what I went upon anyone. It was hell on earth. But now I stand here strong, brave. I have a lot of qualities to me that I never did before, and I'm grateful for them. It was just very painful.
Well, I'm glad that you made it out alive, and that you know your path and your destiny's certain. I have only one more question for this, and then we'll start your next one.
Sure.
So besides that, and seeing what you've seen, your brother and the beings, what was the last thing, or was there anyone else or anything else you've seen before you woke up? Right before you woke up.
Okay, so right before I woke up, that's when I started hearing like the doctors in the was where were we? In the ICU. I was in the ICU or whatever. I was somewhere in the hospital. I think it was the intensive care. So I started hearing doctors and stuff in that room before I woke up. I don't recall seeing anything like when I was out talking with my brother and stuff. Nothing really happened there other than what I've told you. It was but I just started hearing those voices, and then I woke up, and then the doctor told me that I was incredibly lucky to be alive. They had to pump my stomach. I was out for 3 days, and to me it only felt like actually a couple minutes. So I had no clue that I was out that long. And then the doctor just kept saying, you shouldn't be alive, you should be dead, or you should be brain damaged. Like, we thought that you would come out and you would be you wouldn't have a mind to function with anymore. So they're really surprised at how well I was when I came out.
Was there any special abilities you attained after dying and coming back?
Yes, my awareness became really heightened. And I'd say one of the biggest special abilities would be it just changed me and my perception of reality as well. So it changed me to my core. And then the perception of reality I had was, no longer the fear of death or no longer the fear of anything really, essentially. But my awareness became so much that for a long time, it became overwhelming to have that kind of awareness. Like, it really started to mess with my mental health because I was picking up too much information from just things that I didn't need to pick up from. If I was walking by a tree, for example, I could see too many leaves, or I could hear too much noise coming from it, or just things like that. Like, if I were to look at a bird, I would see too much from it. So like, information was pouring through that I feel like our brains naturally kind of cloud over so that we stay sane, so our brain will naturally filter information out so we can just get by. But it's like that filter was gone, and then too much was pouring in at once. It took me a few years to get used to that and to kind of bring that at bay. I also had a weird thing, like sleeping. It was very weird. Every time I would go to sleep, and it still happens today, like when I would go to sleep and I wake up, I feel like I would wake up in a different reality. So that took a long time to get used to as well. So every time I wake up, I'd feel confused on where I was. I just lost. It's like I would lose the night before, and then I'd wake up being like really like almost scared or jumpy. Like, where am I? What's going on? That happened for a long time.
Was it more like you were confused, or did it actually feel and seem like your surroundings was totally different?
Yeah, it was definitely my reality. Like, I was shifting in and out of different realities when I was waking up, and at first it was very confusing. And so, it was as if I was waking up in just a slightly different frequency of the reality I was in. So tuning into something, and that in itself would cause massive confusion for me. And everything was brighter. Like, that's another thing too. Everything became so bright, and also my hearing also enhanced so much so. So my senses came alive, and that was really wild as well. I hear like what some dogs were hearing. So we were at the dog park once, and I was hearing this noise, and then I noticed the dogs were hearing it too. And I asked people, "Do you hear that?" And they're like, "Hear what?" So I was like, "Holy shit! I'm like hearing on a dog's frequency."
That's amazing, man.
It was really wild. Yeah.
Can you imagine a dog whistle and no one else here but you and the dogs?
That's exactly what it felt like. That's exactly what it was like. It was crazy. Yeah, it was really crazy.
That is so awesome, and that's going to lead us into our next topic,
Sure.
which is you were speaking about seeing different realities since you passed and came back.
Yeah.
So let's have you talk about the beginning and towards the and to the end of what you call the dark place.
Okay. So this kind of showed up, I don't know, this showed up a couple years after, I would say, after that near-death experience, where I started to pierce into a world that seemed a little more desolate, seemed darker, of course. There never seemed to be daylight there, or at least when I saw it, it just never felt like there was a sun because nothing was growing in this place. So maybe there wasn't a sun. And there were definitely creatures there that were unusual. And when we were talking the other day, I think I made the connection now that's where these things are crossing over to. Even Bigfoot, I think Bigfoot's going in and out of there as well. I think that, we talk about Dogman, we talk about some of these other creatures. I think they're going in and out of there. I think that's where they're coming from. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think too. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So I made that was a great connection to make. And so, yeah, like things like I'd see things like we hear things like gargoyles or dragons, and are they just a myth or something? I think that there's definitely something to a lot of these creatures. I think they've been seen before. And so these are some of the types of beings I saw. It almost was like it was like a bear with wings. To me, the first thing that came was like a gargoyle, because that's what it looked like. Also saw dragon-like type creature flying, very large, scaly, looked like a snake, but had two arms, two legs, very much like a dragon. So I just call it a dragon, I guess. And yeah, I just think that this world is slightly off of ours. And we know when you hear things about many different religions have the jinn, or all these different more darker beings, the shadow people, or what are the names, some of the names that religions have given some of these, you know what I'm talking about? Like,
Well, you was right on the gin. I would have to pull
there's
out.
some other names that they've been given. I think there's a bunch of names. I can't, for some reason they're not coming up to me, but I think this is where they come from. I think this is where they live. This is the world they're coming from. And I think that there's been theory where they would latch on to certain people. They would latch on to maybe their root chakra here, and then have more control or manipulate their energy. You know how people would sometimes go crazy and they'd say, oh, God was talking to me and told me to cut that guy's head off.
Yes.
That's a true story too that happened. So I think that these types of forces, if you will, darker, negative forces, I have to say that that's the world that they reside in. So when I was there, when I was in this reality, it was very apparent right away that I didn't belong there and I wasn't welcome. It was very, very apparent that I was not allowed to stay very long. That was the first feeling I got, is to not be here too long.
Now, why weren't you allowed to? Why did you feel like you weren't allowed to stay long?
I just felt like it was a place. It's like if you were to go into someone else's home, and they're not there, you just kind of feel like I'm not, this is wrong. You just naturally feel like I shouldn't be here without their permission. That's the exact, I just felt like I need someone's permission. It was just a feeling I got.
So,
I'm not, yeah.
So what was the scenario when you first went in? What did you do to get out? Like what did you do during, and what did you do to get out of it?
You mean like how to get in? How did I get in and how did I get out? Or what did I see when I first went in? Well, first of all, to get in, I didn't really do anything. I was just walking, but I think I might have went through some sort of dimensional doorway or something, to be
And where
honest.
was it?
So this was in a park here in my hometown.
That makes sense.
So there could have been that, or it could have just been me shifting to it in my mind. When I was in it, everything started to change. It wasn't like an instant change at the beginning. It was starting to change slowly, but quick enough where you're like, what's going on? Like something is not right. Something is different here. And then I was in it. I don't know. I can't say I was in it for too long. Maybe a minute. Maybe would be tops 1 minute. Maybe even like 45 seconds, and I was out. I saw what I saw. I saw like the gargoyle thing. I saw the dragon flying. I seen other little shadows and creatures kind of behind the trees. So here's the thing about this reality. It looked exactly like the park I was in. It's just, it was in a different frequency band of that same park. Okay. So I think that this world is a shadow or a mirror image of this world we're in. It's just, maybe that world felt to me like it's been like nuked is kind of the how I would see it. Like maybe there's a probable reality where we went through some sort of a nuclear war, and that's the reality that it created, and it's sitting there, just sitting there existing.
What did the ground look like, or was there any buildings?
No, so and that's the thing. This is I'd love something. I'd love to go back because I was just in the park and all I saw was park. I would love to be able to go in maybe somewhere else and see, is it reflecting the buildings? Is it reflecting the houses? Like, what are some things like that? So there are houses off to the side, and it did look like that. And but the house looked completely like broken down or not really like there, you know. But I wasn't really close enough that I can walk in there and take a look. But as you brought this up to me, it's piqued my interest again. I sure would love to go back and really have a more further investigation for sure. So when all this stuff, like all these different visions, all this stuff happened to me, I know a lot of people would think, oh, that would be, you know, very amazing or whatever you might think, or you're full of shit, whatever. I get it. But to me, it was a curse. To me, I didn't like this. I hated the fact that all this shit was happening to me. I felt uncomfortable. I lost my friends, my family. I lost everything, my job, my girlfriend, my dog, my home. I lost everything over this shit happening to me. So it took many years to just kind of be okay with like the trauma that came with not just a near-death experience, but all the stuff that followed. And that's just like, that's just one thing. I mean, if we're going to talk about, are we talking about the alien stuff next go? Because like, it was when the whole ET stuff happened, that too brought on a level of trauma for me. And all I could really think is, what's going on? Why am I being attacked? Why am I being targeted? What is all this? And I can't make sense of it. You got to remember, I was someone who was like a drug addict prior, someone who didn't have much of an education, someone who came from, you know, not maybe the greatest reality. And then I got bumped into all this all at once, and it was very tough. But yes, over the decade now or so, I've become very accustomed, very used to. I've become very educated in it. I've spent all my time researching and figuring out what's really going on, and I'm glad I have. So now being able to do this stuff to me is more of a privilege now. But yeah, at the beginning, this was a very hard go for me. And I don't recommend anyone have these type of experiences, because as much as they sound amazing, they're not what you think. In real life, it is not what you think. So to think that, oh, that would be, no. And it's when it's happening to you, it's a very, very different experience altogether. But that world, like I said, I'm so glad that connecting with you has connected that, because that has answered some questions for me. So that's really neat. And I'm going to go take another look in that world for you.
Yeah.
And
Makes
I'm going to go take another look, and I'm going to do some investigation, because now you've piqued my interest now even more into what, because if I can see things like maybe Bigfoot, I don't know, if I can see stuff, then I could make some really great connections for me and for you. It's going to be really cool.
I don't want to go off topic too much because I got just a couple more questions for this, but it would make sense like Skinwalker Ranch, like I said before, where they have seen creatures like Bigfoot and crawlers and dogmen come out of these portal things, and aliens be part of that. So for you to be in a pocket dimension and see these creatures and then have this alien encounters, it's all connected.
Yeah.
So I think that it kind of opens us up. Once you're there, everything's it's like you're some kind of a magnet, electronic magnet. And so you're out of that frequency, everybody else is at that frequency with you. So
it's definitely very interesting to be me, to say the least. But the Skinwalker Ranch thing, 100%. I think that there are many dimensional doorways all over the earth, And these beings, they know exactly where they are, and not just where they are, but how to access them. So here's the thing: you can't just walk through and accidentally access these. I believe you have to be of a certain frequency to be able to even get into them. So even though they exist, the average person can't just walk through and then end up in a different reality. There's going to be some sort of a DNA or vibrational thing too. They have that too as well. Like if your DNA is vibrating with your bloodline at a certain level, this is where you can access specific portals and gateways and things like that. But yeah, these gateways exist, these portals exist, and to be able to go in and out, to be able to explore, I mean, what I can't think of something greater to explore than being able to go into these other realities, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see any stars? I know you only seen what you've seen as creatures and stuff. I didn't know
I
if
did
it was
not see
cloudy.
any stars. It's as if even the moon wasn't even there either. No sun, no moon, no stars.
And you said you only stayed in there for a minute.
Yeah.
What when that first happened, what was your feelings besides you thinking like, oh, I shouldn't be here? Like, was you scared? Was you
No,
just
I thought that something happened weird to me again. Like I thought that something I thought that something once again is happening to me. Here we go again. That might lose time on me or something, but that didn't happen. And then when I came out of it, I was able to kind of analyze and say, okay, that was a parallel reality, but how did I? So it wasn't like I was thinking about it. It was just kind of more experiencing it. And then when I got out of it, that's when I could think a little more about what just happened. I thought the whole here we go again. I'm gonna have missing time because that's happened to me before. So it was more like, I think this is where the gargoyles come from. This is where they live. Oh, this is where the dragons are. These are where these creatures reside. And I would think back, there's talks about how people would be manipulated. That's one of the things that came up. Oh, that's where those creatures are, or those beings. What do they call them? There's so many names they have for them, but the jinn, and there's other names. These are where they're manipulating people from without them being able to see them.
that makes
That was something that
sense.
came to me. Yeah.
Wow. Um, have you crossed into any other realms similar to that or different or
Different.
anything of the sort?
Yeah.
Different.
Yeah. There was one, it was really amazing. There was like when I went through this kind of portal thing, it was on Vancouver Island, British Columbia, and I immediately felt that I was in something because everything was it's as if I was in the center of a tornado. So I felt like energy moving around me, but where I was standing was incredibly calm and incredibly still. So that's the only thing I can kind of describe. It was more tornado-like. And when it went away, immediately I noticed that the reality I was in was like a few shades brighter than the one I just came from. So it was all the same, except for it was brighter. It was more refined, more fresh, more crisp, more clean.
So you was in like a tunnel, and then all of a sudden you were in a brighter place.
Yeah. It wasn't a tunnel. It was like I was walking, and then all of a sudden I felt energy spinning around me, but I felt that tornado kind of calm in the middle. Then it went away, and then everything was, like I said, a few shades brighter, but cleaner, crisper. Like the air was very crisp. Everything was different.
Has that
Guess
stayed
what?
with
It
you?
stayed there. It stayed. When I went into that reality, it never went back to the old one. I feel like I shifted to a couple notches over and stayed. Yeah.
And it's been like that since?
Yes.
Or
Now you see you're bringing up something else for me. This is what is one of the craziest things that happened after this. So this is amazing. This is something I totally forgot about. When I came out of that, I started meeting parallel reality people that were reflections of my old friends growing up with. These people were like exact replicas of old friends that I had. It was the craziest thing. And this was way back in my early awakening or whatever. But I'm sitting here talking to people that I know are a parallel version reality of somebody else I was friends with. It was just, I knew it. It was like, you are this person, but you're just a parallel version of that person. So I'm in a different reality, speaking and connecting with people that were used to be my friends and old friends growing up. it was the craziest shit show I have ever experienced. And trying to be like, have that stable in your mind and not thinking you're going crazy and completely insane was very difficult. But man, that was such a time. I'm telling you, like back then was, oh man, I could write books and books about this shit. It was crazy. Wild stuff.
This was happening before your death experience or after?
This happened after.
After?
Yeah.
It's so amazing, like all the things that, you know, it's like you had to get rid of all the toxic negative people for you to be at the level where you're at. Isn't it weird how all those people that you know left you behind are people that didn't need to be in your life, and then you get all these newer people that are almost replicas of your family and your friends, and they're all on your side and they're all there for you.
Yeah, and it's funny, and they were like a better version. They're not really better, but they were a more positive, refined version of the ones that I used to know. There are parallel realities upon parallel realities, but there are parallel people within those realities. You exist in multi-realities, and all you need to do to get to another version of you is to shift your energy to match that person's energy. When I went through that portal, that's exactly what happened. I shifted to another reality that was more positive, we'll say, or more cleaner, fresher, and then the people started reflecting that. So I have a connection to those people, but it was unreal when I was with these people. And it was not just one, it was many. And saying, oh, that's Shane. Oh, that's Crystal. Oh, that's Nicole. Oh, that's Brandy. And I was like, oh my God, like what the fuck? It was so crazy. And how quickly they took to me. So how fast we just became friends and like friendly. I'm like, wow. And they're like, oh, I feel like I know you from somewhere. It's so weird. I feel like I have a connection to you. They would say to me, not me to them. And it's like, oh, I know what the connection is, but I'm not going to tell you. Like, you're just going to think I'm crazy. It was wild. It really was wild.
Has your family learned to be there for you more now and understanding as you've gotten older? Or
yeah, my mom is better. My dad pretty much has written me off in a sense. And like friends, I've written other friends off. I realized that they weren't real friends anyway. After the fact, the way they treated me was just like, well, you weren't obviously a real friend anyway. But no, like as far as my family, like my brother, I don't speak with my brother, and my father, no. But my mom, she's kind of like some of the things I said 10 years ago is starting to happen now. So she's starting to like open up and be like, yeah, you know what, like you were saying, and I know we thought you're crazy, but like it is happening. Wow. So she's starting to come around a little bit. It's just all the trusts, all that shit's been so lost with me that it's hard for me to reconnect to any of them and be like, you know what, man, you wronged me so bad. I'm not willing to hear I'm sorry. Like I am, because you're my mom. I get it. You're my family. And I don't want to like let you all go, and I love you, but man, you guys did so bad by me. Like, I didn't deserve that. Like, I was going through enough already. And to have you guys, like, trying to have me put in the mental hospitals and calling the cops on me and all kinds of shit. Like, it was just, no, I didn't need that. Didn't need that.
Yeah, no, that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one should ever be put through that. They should be open and understanding. And even if they don't believe in people, they should still be there. It doesn't make sense.
And I get that, some of the things that, obviously what I'm saying and what I've been through to me is, this is me. It's very easy for me to talk about these things, but I got to remember too that there's going to be people listening to this too. They're going to be like, this guy's full of shit. And I get that. I understand that. And I'm okay with that. So I'm not trying to get anyone to believe what I have to say. It's not about that. It's about me getting that out. And I get like, from my parents' point of view, I get it. Like the things that were happening to me, maybe some of the things that I was saying, doesn't seem to come across all, normal and stable. But the reality is this happened to me, and that's my truth. And if you can't accept it, then maybe you can't accept me. Because I'm not, man, me making this up would be the worst thing because it did nothing good for me. Like, why would I make up something like this that caused me so much anguish and grief and heartache? So that was something I tried to tell him, like, what's the point behind me making this shit up? What's the point? So I it is, everything's getting better. I'm a lot more grounded. I'm stable. I'm way better off than I was. Because back then, I'll admit it, I was very ungrounded. I didn't understand what was going on. I questioned my sanity for many years. And if you're someone who's ever had to question your own sanity, I'm going to tell you something, that is something very hard. Like, that's a hard mental, emotional thing to go through, is to question every day is whether you're sane or not. It just taxes the system a lot. And it was hard to just be like, is this real? Am I experiencing something, real, or is this delusional and in my mind? But over the years, it was very clear and very apparent that this is all real. It's all happening. And, I just got to be more educated on it, accustomed to it. And now I thrive. My reality now is way better, and I do very well now. So it's all worked out.
That's so good to hear. I'm kind of happy that you've done accepted yourself, and others have accepted you as well.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Now, we were speaking about your alien encounters. If you want to go ahead, and I'll let you go ahead and tell your story about that from beginning to end.
Okay.
And how it played a part in everything.
Yeah, there's a lot. So I'm going to give you some of the more like the basics of kind of how it started for me and what I think about it all, and where we can go from here. When I was young, I would have experiences of time loss. And obviously I didn't really know what that meant when I was young, so I just kind of chopped it up to nothing, really. And then I had experiences where I'll share one with you, where I'd fallen off a cliffside. It was about 100 feet up, and I fell headfirst down to the rock bottom, the river bottom below. And when I hit the bottom, nothing. I was not bruised. I was not cut. I was not scraped. I didn't get hurt at all, and I should have. And I had another experience when I was skiing, and my ski fell off. I was on one ski. I hit headfirst into a tree, and same thing. It was like I hit a bed of feathers. It was like nothing. Once again, here I should be going to the hospital, and I'm skiing away like nothing happened. I had an experience where I was driving my car, and I was about to roll over. The car was off of 4 wheels onto 2, ready to flip. And then it's like this energy came down and slammed it back down to 4 wheels. So at this point, like as I grew up, I was starting to put together that there's something out of my power, out of my control, that's been helping me, watching me, doing something for me, protecting me. I didn't really know until I had more of my conscious ET encounters. So this as well happened in Victoria, British Columbia. I was outside my condo building, and a UFO ship came above head, stopped, and it was about 30 to 50 feet above my head. It was very close enough that I can see it. It was a disc-shaped one. It had lights that it looked like they were spinning or moving, but they're actually just different lights that were kind of shining on and off in different areas. There were yellow, green, blue, red lights like that. And then, so what I noticed was the energy. So this thing didn't have any sound, nothing for sound. And there was an energy about it that's what really started my journey of like, where it took my head and basically blew it up and took my beliefs or what I thought was reality and shook them to nothing. So it enhanced my frequency to a point where from that point on, I got extremely ungrounded. And I got very just out of touch with reality because of the energy I was taking on. I had a telepathic communication. They said, everything is going to be all right. That's what they said. And then they slowly took off. So from that point on, I knew that what I experienced was something very surreal, but also it made a lot of sense about the earlier stuff that happened when I was a kid. So I was like, oh, that's what's been saving me. That's what's been protecting me. It's been this ET force or whatever. Since then, I've had multiple abductions by, you can call them gray aliens. There's little short ones that I've had connection with. There's like tall ones. They come in my house. I had one experience that scared the living shit out of me. I woke up in the middle of the night in this little creepy gray alien, these long fingers, right? He had these 3 long fingers reaching over my face. I woke up, I looked up in the eye, up at him in the eyes, and he actually got surprised because he didn't think I'd wake up, I guess. So I surprised him, and he kind of just jumped back a little bit, right? So, so anyway, that little bastard, he froze me. He completely shut me off. So he instantly, I could not speak, I could not scream, I could not move, I couldn't do nothing, right? Except just be in complete terror of what was going on, the complete terror. And then I woke up the next day, and then I had, just memory of that. But that was kind of like where I'm like, you know what? I don't know if I can do this anymore. Like, you guys can't keep taking me. Like, this is insane. But I bet you that I've been taken over 100 times, easily, throughout my entire life. And they do actually take people, and they're building a hybrid race. That's what the Greys are doing. They're taking people. Why they're abducting them is because they are building a hybrid race, because they screwed up their own race, as far as what I can see, that they shouldn't be like that. That's my interpretation. I'm not saying you have to believe it, but that's what I believe. And they're trying to build a race that's more humanoid-like, more like us, I guess. They don't have emotions, to the sense where, it's like they can't really, they're not trying to harm us, but they don't understand the fear that they're giving to us too, and the trauma that goes along with this. Like, I've dealt with PTSD for so long, and this doesn't make it better. So yeah, there's been abductions experiences for me. Now that's them. There's been other experiences where I've had like humanoid. They're like a humanoid race. They look like us. They have bigger heads. They have slightly like rounder, bigger eyes, but smaller bodies actually. And they look more like us. And they're more, I would say they're more, they're nice. They're not trying to abduct us and steal us. They don't mean any harm. They're actually here to try to help. That's what my take is from them. And what else can I say about them? They I don't know. I've been taken, so that's the whole time thing. So time would go missing on me, and then I come back. Also, I've had chips in me. They put a chip that you can actually clearly see in my hand. So that's in me, so that I know that they can monitor me and track me. I'd like to be able to get that chip out and maybe go and get it looked at or processed or something like that. Yeah, what would you like to know? Do you have any questions on them at all?
Yeah, actually, would you ever think about doing past regression therapy?
Oh yeah,
to
I thought
find out
about
more
that.
about?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would love to do that for sure. I think that would be so informative for me, for sure. But I do remember, like, they'll take me. So every time they take me, the next morning, I'll be like, okay, something happened again, right? And then, like, throughout the day, it'll drip. It'll drip to me, and I'll be like, okay, that's what happened. But maybe they did take me, and I don't remember either. So it's just the times that I do. I can tell that something happened the night before.
Um, you said that you have a microchip. Is it easy for other people to see it? And if
Yeah,
so, would you be able to take a picture and we can post it on my channel and on the website if you feel comfortable enough?
yeah, I think I can do that. I think you should be able to see it. I think my camera will pick it up. I'll try it. I'll see if you can see it, and then I'll kind of put a circle around it. You can see it
Yeah.
though. Yeah.
I've
Okay.
never seen one, and I'd like to see one. So
It's just a dark little spot, like within
okay.
the skin, right? And I also have another chip that it's more of an energy plant. So when I woke up, it had this more of like a grid line. It looked like just like an energy stamp was put down on
Huh.
my hand. So it wasn't like an actual chip piece of thing, but this is you can
Yeah.
see it's right inside the skin. But my camera's pretty good, so I'll take a
Yeah.
picture and see if it can be seen for sure.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
So you said you've probably more than likely been abducted many times. Is there any one that you remember of being inside of a ship or
Oh
seeing
yeah.
another creature?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Uh,
Yeah.
can you
What would you like to? Okay.
describe like what was in there or what beings you saw?
Yeah, so one thing I can tell you about their ships is that their controls, so they link up to their ship where that they're the only ones that can see their controls.
Mhm.
So to me, it would look empty, but to them, they're like it's like the controls are in their mind. Like they're hooked up to it and the controls, so they're like doing stuff and I don't, but it just looks empty. So that's one thing I noticed is that, and also that their ships are very clean, like incredibly clean. I guess that's one thing I could tell you about their ships is that everything just feels and looks and smells sterile. So nothing, there's no mess, there's no stuff laying around like you would think someone's home or someone's car. It's just all very well put together. They have weird pod things. I seen this tub. It looked like it was filled with like a jelly kind of thing. They have scanners or screens that look like they're just kind of like maybe a TV, but without the actual TV, more just like the screen where you can like touch things, I guess, as far as that goes, just like in the air kind of. They have like different pod things that you can lay in. And like I think they're kind of like, maybe I don't know what they are. I think there's things for healing too, where if you're sick you can like lay in this tub thing. I'm only guessing because it felt like it was, when I saw those, it was like in a medical kind of bay. So I feel like that has to do with medical stuff. I don't know. It kind of felt like they were doing medical things in one of the rooms. It depends on, so in, like I said, I was in one of their main control rooms. That's where I noticed how like I couldn't see the controls, so they could. I felt like it was like they were connected in their brains. I think these ships, I think a lot of these gray ships actually are like drones. I feel like they are controlled for some reason. They're almost like drones sent in to kind of investigate, or they have like a mother. Maybe there's a bigger ship that all these ships go to as well. The ships, their technology is weird. Like I feel like you walk in a room and it would be as if the room wasn't there until you walked in.
Yeah.
I can only give you kind of interpretation. I can't, it's not like I can give you detail. I can give you some of the things that I've seen or flashes or visions or feelings, because it's not like when I go, I have full conscious memory, because I don't. I only get things in flashes and things like that. Nothing ever comes like they pick me up, I go there with them, I remember the whole thing and I come back. It's never happened to me that way. So it's always just been by memory and just get weird images of things, right, the next day. That's why I would love to do that regression. I would love to see what comes out.
Yeah, please. When you do, I would love to hear everything.
Yeah.
That'd be
Oh,
cool.
yeah. That'd be awesome. I'll send you the tape. It would be. I could only imagine. I could
I
only
think it's
imagine.
scary, though. I don't want it to be too scary. Like if you ever seen that guy was getting the past regression therapy, and then he just floated into the freaking sky, and he was speaking in like several different languages, all in like
Yeah.
30 voices. It was crazy, man. Um, but okay, so what about creatures? What other creatures have you seen besides what you've already described as in the grays and the smaller grays?
No, I've only really seen the tall. I've seen tall, like white, gray-looking things. I've seen the small, gray-looking things, and I've seen this humanoid thing. Now, I do have a vision or a memory, and I don't know where it comes from or why it's there, so I can't give you like 100% this is it. But I do have like a vision of something that looked almost like a dinosaur. It was as if it was a standing smaller version of a T-Rex kind of looking thing, very like maybe reptilian, if you will. I can kind of draw it out. I've actually drawn it out before, just to kind of get a look on it. But it looked like, and it also had wings, so it's as if it's like like a dinosaur, a miniature T-Rex with wings, if you can imagine that, with like spikes. It just looked like a dinosaur, but it looked like, like a really weird reptile flying thing. I don't know why that's in my mind. I don't know if there's more about that and that just came up. I don't really know much about that, but that's the only other thing I can tell you as far as them. But all I know is the humanoid and the grays, and then that like kind of white gray looking thing.
Would you be able to draw those things for me? Like all the things that you've ever seen through all the
I think so.
story?
Yeah, the grays are pretty. The grays are what what would you think? They look just like what we've been shown. Like they drew. Here's the thing. They made those aliens look just like them, so that
Mhm.
they could tell us, hey, we know, like that's what they look like. Like they've known about that for a long time,
That
you
is
know.
so great.
But I'll draw them.
And
I'll draw the reptilian one. I'll draw the humanoid. The humanoid, you think like it looks like us, but with bigger, rounder
have you
eyes.
ended up have you
What's
ended
that?
up scaring any other creatures or aliens any of the sort?
Have I ended up scaring? You say?
Sorry. Okay. Sorry, you was glitching out just for a minute.
Oh,
Um, have you scared any other creatures of the sort?
no, just that one little gray gray guy, I
That
guess.
is fine. I
Yeah.
bet you were laughing.
Well, it
I
wasn't very.
wonder.
Oh, it's just glitching a bit.
Yeah.
That's okay. I think it's a little better now. Okay, go on.
Um, so that's pretty funny. I wonder if you ever ran back into that gray alien.
I'm not sure. I'm really not
That,
sure. And they all look so alike that I don't think you'd ever really know.
wow. Yeah, that does make sense.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. I think we got most of it. And if there's any other subject you like to pass and tell everybody, like, because I know you talked about having clairvoyance, talking to ghosts, and then astral travel. I don't know if that's something you want to mention in this episode, or if you want to make a one other
Yeah,
episode of Real.
maybe we'll do a few. Let's do a few episodes with you. We'll get some
Okay.
stuff out. One thing I want to tell your viewers who are listening to this that um uh I've had so many different so I've had so many different types of things happen to me. It's not just singled down to one thing. Um, I kind of almost wish it was one thing that I have had. I think that'd be a lot easier to deal with my life if it was just one thing. I think that my life was designed to be this really extreme kind of expansive um, experience where maybe I got to see a lot of things that other people I maybe wouldn't see, or my theme in life was more exploratory, or whatever it may be. Um, it has been very interesting. One thing that I do want to share, of course, is all that's happened to me. I think it's important that I get all this out to give people, even if you don't have to believe it, but even if it just gets you thinking a little bit about something different, or something, it just gives you a different perspective, allows you to maybe see yourself or life from a different point of view. That's all I really care about. I don't care to be believed. I don't care for anything like that. I just feel like me sharing this is important for me. I think it can be healing for me to have other people hear this, because I've kept this secret my whole life. This has been my secret. There's one person, a great friend of mine, my best friend, that she's the only other person that knows all this. And so to get a lot of this out to other people is going to be good to finally kind of unload this as well. So yeah, I appreciate everyone listening and hearing it out for sure. And if your viewers, if any of them have any questions to me, I don't know, should I have them email me or get a hold of you? What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. What you can do is go ahead and give your email now, and that way they can have it to write down, or if you
Yeah,
have
so
any.
my email is bronzeknightacademy@gmail.com. So maybe you can write down the proper spelling. I'll give it to you after, whatever. I'm also building a mystery school, but I have an academy right now that I'm building, and there's gonna be all kinds of stuff in there. So the mystery school is gonna be all about learning the ancient wisdom and the ancient knowledge. I have something called the Knight's Code, where it's going to help people kind of reconnect to themselves and their purpose. If that's something that you're interested in as well, you can email me. It's not done yet, but it's getting there. So if you have an interest in learning from some of the things that I put together as well, you can always email me. So yeah, you just put the email, and any questions you have, I'm willing to talk to people about whatever they have. I'm not, I won't be asking for money or nothing like that. I'm always willing to share with different people. So yeah, just look me up, and yeah, we'll have a conversation.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, I appreciate having you on, and I'm going to hit the stop record here in a second, and then
Yeah.
I'll talk to you. But it was great having you on, and I bet the audience is going to love everything you said about your experiences and encounters. They probably have a lot of questions as well.
I'm
So
sure it's going to bring up a lot. Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt if there's going to be some comments soon. So,
Okay.
but I hope to see you again on the next episode so we can talk about your other topics from
Yeah.
clairvoyant, talking to ghosts, astral travel, and then maybe even go a little bit further into the future probabilities.
Sure. Yeah. And I appreciate your show. I appreciate what you're doing here. I think your show is a great example of what needs to be here today, where people can share all kinds of different stuff and share opinions and different, unusual things. Cause I mean, the world is just too boring if you just, if you just think it's just this place where we come to, get a job and get married and have kids and then whatever, just kind of repeat, right? Like this world is such an open, vast space, and it's so much better to live your life with, being able to tap into some of those other realities for sure.
I agree, Jeff. I'm so happy to have met you and have you come on. And let's say it's been a great video, and I hope to talk to you guys soon. And this will end the video. So
Awesome.
you guys have any stories similar to like Jeff or encounters of cryptids, supernatural, paranormal, you can email me your stories at realsne_stories@yahoo.com. And you can come on and tell your story as well. Or if you want to be anonymous, then I can tell it for you. But thank you guys for watching, and I will see y'all later. Okay, there, I stopped my recording. So
Okay, awesome. There you go. How long was that? What was it, about an hour and a half?
yeah, about an hour and a half. Or an hour. Yours is probably a little bit longer. Mine's an hour and 5 minutes.
Okay, cool. Very cool. Yeah.
I want to make it as my episode 7, so that way people can see that and add it to my YouTube as well.
So will it be video or just audio?
Video and audio.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So they're going to see pretty much you,
Yeah.
when I post the video. It's going to be just mainly a picture of you and the little box of me.
Okay.
And I'm
Cool.
putting it on.
So where did you
right
get that?
now.
Did you just find this, or are you trying to upgrade that picture? Because that's one you have. Is that one that you've added recently, this picture, or you want to make one better than that?
Oh, I definitely want to make one better than that. That'd be so great.
That's just the one you're using now, but you wanted a whole expansive one. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
I'm cool. Right now sharing it, so give me just 1 second to make sure I can get it on here. It's uploading, so that's good. I wonder if it saves, because that'd be great, so I don't have to do this all right at the moment. Let's see.
So what are your plans for the week? You probably working all week?
Let's see. The next couple of days I'm going to do another episode of a story reading of someone's, and then I have to go to work Friday. And what else? Just kind of working on this, and of course doing my taxes, but I ain't getting nothing back. So
yeah,
no big deal if that's the case. But yeah,
do you think there's any way that you can, turn this into a sort of a career for yourself, where you can actually do this full time, or what?
If I get enough people to do it, then I would love to do it full time. And I don't even have to do it. I don't even want to get paid for it. I just want to do it so I can meet those people that went through it, have them tell their stories, and then more people will be more kind of into it and want to tell their truths and everything they're going through. And if I can get a lot of people to do that, that'd be so great.
Yeah.
Because that's all I want. I want to make this a hobby. I want this to like be a real thing. I want it to where people can come to me and talk and tell their stories too, like you did to me and everybody else. We should be more open about this kind of stuff. I don't know why.
People, you'll see. I don't know. We'll see what the response is with me. From what I know, I think unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there that are looking for, their 5 minutes of fame, and they come up with these fucking crazy stories, because the problem with this is there's no proof. It's just, I can't prove anything to you. So when you get in a field of there's no proof, then anyone could just say whatever the fuck they want, right? They could just tell you whatever. And that's where there's a problem, because there's so many untrustworthy people that just, I don't know, they'll just tell bullshit. They'll just do it for fun. They don't care. People don't care about any of that crap. I do. I'm not just going to come on
Well,
and tell a bunch of crap.
yeah, and that's what makes it hard for others because when one person tells a lie, then they think everybody's lying.
Yeah.
That's the whole part, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I hope that people, like I've told you prior, that I hope if I listen to those people that do make up stories, that eventually they'll tell a little bit of truth to it, and then outcome and be honest about why they're doing what they're doing, and then people will see like, oh, okay, they're not bad people, they just want to express themselves. I'll be like, okay, well, you got to do that on other people's channels. This one's just for people who really have to go through these things, and they should be able to tell what their experiences are without criticism. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, if you find anybody, like any friends, because I know you're doing a thing too, if you could find anybody, I'm willing to like share uh, people's encounters and everything if you wanted to. You can find people that have been through anything, any kind of. See, when I was thinking about it, I initially wanted to start it by doing dogman encounters, but it's so hard to get people to tell those stories because they're so scared. They're so scared they don't want to talk about it. I have a friend. I live right by the Germantown Dogman encounters, and my one friend won't even tell me nothing about his encounter. That's how scared he is. So I just kind of just took it as a loss and thought about it like there's so many things in this world. Why should I narrow it down just to one? You
Yeah. No,
know,
you,
near
yeah, for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
even near-death experiences, those are supernatural because it's something that's not in this normal world that
Hmm.
we're dealing with. So, and it's all connected, every bit of it.
Yeah.
So if we can have all those stories like your story was, man, your story was connected to everything I've been researched, everything.
Yeah. I know it's wild. And I think there is a huge connection, and it's just putting the pieces together where they fit properly and then getting kind of a bigger picture. Like that's what I've been doing is trying to pieces together. I have enough pieces together that I can see what's going on.
Yeah,
But at the beginning, it's like, you just got all this muddled crap. You don't have no clue what is what. It takes many, many years to figure it out and put it together. But people like me, myself, who spend the time I have putting this together with experience, because experience gives you so much more. Like with the experience, it just really makes everything more stable and strong. But with me putting this together can help someone with some of their questions they may have, putting their pieces together. And the whole picture's out there. It's just putting
yeah,
it together and then understanding how this all fits. But like I said, what's the point of living in this world where, like, I used to live in it too. What a bleak world. Like now,
yeah,
when I look at the world for what it is and see the beauty and wonderment behind it, and see that there's so much control trying to keep us away from having that wonderment in our eyes, it's
yeah,
crazy. We are living in a blessed time, in a blessed place, and I think it's great to be here. And so many people are just killing themselves and doing all
yeah.
kinds of shit to themselves that, man, it's wild. It really is wild. Yeah.
You ain't even kidding, man. And
Yeah.
it's so great to know there's more to it than just going to work, getting married, having kids. There's more
Yeah.
to it.
Oh
You
yeah.
just have to be through the experiences like yours, or meditate, or do something that's out of the ordinary that will help us to see and feel and understand that there's other things out there that makes us pay attention to what we should be doing instead
Yeah.
of obeying everything.
Yeah. And the more, like I said, yeah, the more we talk about it, the more someone like myself speaks about these crazy, weird things in a very stable way, the more other people will be like, well, hey, like he's talking about it. So yeah, I can. It's not a big deal. Like I said,
Yeah,
I don't care what people think of me. That's gone. This path removed that from my life, which I'm grateful for. So I no longer carry the burden of what others think. I could just be me, and you don't like it, fuck off. Change the channel. I don't
yeah,
care. Be closed-minded. Do what you got to do to get by. I don't care, but I love who I am, and I love the world I live in, and it was tough. It's tough to be me, and it was very hard to even be sitting here alive today. I had to fight for my life for years. So I am grateful to be here, and if someone doesn't like that, well, then just try it. You're going to lose.
yeah,
Try to make my day bad. It's not, you don't have that power. You just
yeah.
don't have the power. You can't do that to me. So
I'm impressed, and I appreciate your story, Jeff. I really do,
yeah,
and I can can't wait to hear the other ones. That's why I'm kind of glad that we had like a talk in the beginning, and then we did an episode today of,
Yeah.
you know, every of like three topics, and then it's cool that we're both comfortable enough we can go ahead and get another topic going on another day.
Yeah.
So
Are you ever, would you ever, you have an interest in conspiracies as well? Is that something that you have an interest in for yourself?
yeah, I'm in it. We can do. I was thinking about having a separate podcast for those type of things, like my day to day, the ways I think, and I think it would be good to talk with you on them because you are at the same level as me of what I believe and how I see things. So I think that could be a real thing if you want to make it a. Well, we can make us like a subject each time. I'll go
Yeah,
ahead and
because
come.
there's so many shows out there that are bullshit. There's so many shows that are paid bullshit, and there's so many lies and so much stuff about what's going on in the world. I have a much more better understanding than a lot of people as far as that. Now, I'm not saying I like that you're doing the paranormal. I think that's good. Getting into conspiracies can be taxing. It's hard to always be thinking about what's wrong with the world and the lies and stuff. But it would be kind of cool to throw some of, just some things in that would kind of clarify and say, this is what I feel is happening right now. So don't fall for it, kind of thing, or throw something in like that, or have another show. But we should set up something. If you want to set up, let me know. Set up a time for me again when you want to do another show, and we can bring up some other topics. And if you want to do something more of yeah, if you get like bigger and stuff where you can grow it a little bit, I think it'd be cool to do kind of like a co thing with you, and me and you can
Yeah.
maybe kind of do some sort of where we can interview someone. Me and you can be the interviewer of someone else, and then kind of ask questions, and then kind of just have a big talk or get a few people on. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
let's definitely figure out how we can go about doing that, like how we can video both of us at the same time and also bring someone on
that'll
and
be
answer.
Zoom. That's going to
Yeah,
be Zoom. We can do that with Zoom. So I'll get the
yeah,
subscription that I have to get anyway, and then we'll just run it that way. I just got to figure out how to post and do all that. That should be easy, but that's going to be done through Zoom because we can get 100 people on at once, and me and you. So
oh
yeah,
wow.
yeah, you can get many going. So they do business meetings and stuff with Zoom and stuff, right? They're doing all kinds of stuff like that. But we'll
Yeah.
have me and you as kind of like co-hosts or hosts and stuff, and then we'll bring on other people, invite them when it's time, and then they can talk and we can ask questions. We can all just have a big talk. Oh, it'd be so great to just talk about this stuff once a week or something, just to get it out there and have a good talk about whatever
Let's
comes
do
up
that.
in the
Yeah.
paranormal. I got all kinds of stories. I have content till the sun dies out, man. I'm not gonna I cannot run out of content.
Hey, that makes me happy then. I mean, we should be good for a long time then.
We should be good for a while. There's no doubt about it. There's lots to talk about. There's so many different things that you can in this field. So you're right. Don't just narrow it down to Dogman, because you'd get like a couple people and that's it. Your show would run out. Not many people know much about Dogman as well. It's not like a huge thing.
Yeah,
But
and I'm trying to
paranormal,
find Goatman too. That's a hard subject, but there's been a few encounters I've heard of.
Goatman.
Goatman, yeah.
Yeah, I think that, you know
Voodoo,
what I think too. I
the
think that
devil. Yeah.
yeah, I think that they're doing like genetic experiments in labs, and some of these fuckers get loose or something too. I think maybe some of that's going on as well. I don't know. Like it's weird. Who
Yeah.
knows what they're doing?
It's
Back in the
it's crazy.
Yeah, like back in the ancient days, they would do genetic experiments with humans and dogs and birds and shit like that. So I could see them
So,
doing. You think that they're doing cloning and stuff? I bet you they're cloning and stuff like that. Hey, like you can only
yeah,
imagine what they're doing.
I know. And I'm up for it. If you want to do some of this
Yeah.
co-hosting, and we can go ahead and create another channel for us talking about everything. Doesn't have to be just paranormal and stuff. So
Okay.
I'll be willing to do
Okay.
that. So in this couple of days, I'll go ahead and try to like find like a name thing, or you can create the page and I just come on yours, and we'll always do the thing, and we'll just share them across both each other's media. That way, because you don't
Yeah.
have a channel, we can make it your channel, and I'll be your co-host. If you but we can do it either way. That's fine with me.
Yeah, we'll figure it out either way. I'm still kind of learning on how to even building out these. I'm building out a page for my Bronze Knight stuff, and then
Okay.
we'll work something out, and then we'll try to get you a really cool logos going on, for the
That'd be
pages
cool.
too. We'll turn it into something, and my clients and students, I can direct over here to listen to some things, and it'll be a great collaboration. It will be. It'll be cool. So we'll do it.
So do you want to do this next Monday then?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do next Monday. We'll do another
Same time?
talk. Yeah,
Same
that
time? Okay.
works. Same time, same place.
Same camera from. I got you, man.
And I may have we'll do this next Monday, and we'll just go with it. We'll see what kind of response you get from the video. And
All right, I'm hoping the best for real.
yeah. Okay. Well, I'll let you go. Have a great afternoon or great evening in your case,
Yeah.
and just keep in touch with me. Keep in touch with me over the message, and we'll keep in touch, and then we'll work out. We'll just know that Monday, 4 o'clock, 2 o'clock my time, we'll jump on.
Yeah, we need alarm clocks, calendar reminders.
Yeah, I was like, right. My freaking internet went out. I was trying to restore it. I'm like, oh my god, and it never goes out. I'm like, why is it going out right now? So anyway, we'll work it out. We'll get it together.
All right, buddy.
I'll write it down right now. That's the 8th, right? 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it'll grow. It's gonna be cool. All of it, man.
I know. I'm looking forward to it, bud.
Yeah. As we get to know each other a little more too, I'll enlighten you a little bit on what I'm here to do too.
I want to know that more intimate kind of things you don't want to talk about. I want to know about this.
Yeah, that's something that's something only one other person but me knows right now. But it's gonna be really cool. It's gonna be big, very big.
I'm excited, man.
It's gonna be big. I'm even shocked. Sometimes I think about it myself. I'm like, am I ready for this? Am I ready for what this is gonna bring? Am I ready for like people to know this face? It's pretty wild. I'll tell you though in time. I'll let you in on the secret.
Yeah. All right, Jeff. Well, that sounds good to me. So I will see you Monday, but I'm going to share your stuff and share it to your profile. I'm going to add you as a friend if you're not already added as my friend.
Yeah, go ahead. Do all that. Yeah.
All right. And I will talk to you later, bud.
Awesome. Take care, man.
See you later.